Bam. All right. I was wondering, it's like a long cutoff there. We are live with another episode of the Lounge with Legends show. What are y'all dressed up for, James?
Well, I went through my wardrobe. The only other time I've worn this was when we were in Texas and we were around JR. So do you know why I'm wearing this blue jacket?
I have no clue.
Come on, man. You got to remember.
Because we got Navy in the house.
That's right. This is the closest thing I have to Navy besides a misspelled shirt, because I think John had a misspelled shirt on the other night. I was watching him. I know he blamed it on the cadets at the academy, at the military academy, but the Army Academy. But I think it was, I don't know. We'll find out the real story on why he had that shirt on.
Yeah, buddy. Now I'm excited about today. We're going to talk about a lot of great things that we love. Mindfulness, how much better the Army is than the Navy, and triathlons. As you know, I've been doing triathlons since before a lot of people were even born here that watch the show. So I've been doing triathlons since '89. So this is going to be awesome. And we're going to talk about where they're doing it as well. So this is going to be great.
And the cause they're doing and just how you can support them. It's going to be an amazing episode. I'm excited just because, just before we got into, here in the green room, I was able to tell John my tips on Dorito chips, and snacks and lickies and chewies that's going to help them get through that Ironman. That's really
that's true. Yeah, those are some great tips. If
I've been doing that since 1988, so I got you by 1 year.
Oh man, the comments are coming in. We've already got Go Army beat Navy. Oh wait, that's me.
Wait, that's your comment. We got to get it in now because we know when you get the legend in here, it's gonna be on. So we got to talk our trash while he can't defend himself yet.
So real quick, how's the 10 miler training coming?
So what are we talking about? The next guest is coming on, or what are we talking about now?
Tell you about your Army 10 mile. And you're about to tell us what had happened was.
Well, no, on Truth and Lending, here's the truth. We were on a call with Andy and John a couple of weeks ago, and they gave me some great advice, and I actually followed it. So my feet are now recovering. Here's what I have on right now.
You got camouflage, of course.
Of course, they just came out. I got them from the manufacturer. But obviously,
that was a top tip for Andy.
But anytime that I could get, pump up Andy, support the hippo before this big Ironman, I got to do that because we got to take down the shark, right? We have to take the shark down.
All right. Well, let's get him on because I know we're excited to talk about this. Are you ready, brother?
Let's go.
I don't know why James has got some sort of agreement with StreamYard where it always puts him first. I don't know. I didn't know that was in the contract when I signed it. But
what's up, fellas? How are you?
What is up, John? How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you got your little blast in before I got on and out of the green room. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun banter here today. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, we know better. We know we got to get the shots in earlier. We're not going to get them. We got to get the
we got to show you, man. I appreciate Andy's little comment too. I got the OFOS right here. It sounds like almost as though we today are being sponsored by OFOS, but exactly. OFOS or however you pronounce it. But I got to tell you, that is one great tip that Andy said. It's like walking around with dang clouds on your feet.
All right, I'm going to go get him now.
So you're acknowledging that Army actually provided the Navy with some good intel. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
No, that is awesome. Now, it's well, you guys mentioned it, and James went out immediately and bought it because he's got his plantar fasciitis or no heel spur, and so hopefully helping him recover in time so that we can do the Army 10 mile here in DC, or he can Sherpa for us. You're not familiar with what Sherpa is out there. Sherpa is when you go and you carry all this stuff for your athletes that are racing.
Well, the other part of the conversation, Andy was looking for a ticket for the 10 miler. So I was going to be more than happy to, if I have to give one for the team, I'm more than happy to give up my 10 mile spot. My feet are messed up.
Well, luckily, I think the Army 10 miler opened up some limited slots. I already sent it to Andy. So maybe he can jump on that and you won't have to give yours up, James.
All right, I'll do it. I'll be there.
But John, let's talk about you, brother. What's your story here? You came in and something led you away from the Army and went to the Navy. What was that polarizing force that was pushing you away from us?
Well, I like the color blue a lot better than the color green. No. Well, I think the water, man. Honestly, I knew young that I wanted to serve in some capacity. And then as I was going through high school, I was part of a pretty good track and cross country team. And we were like brothers. I mean, we did absolutely everything together. Yeah. And I knew that I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself when I left high school, and still served the country. So that thing that was bigger than myself, tight knit, serving the country, I realized special operations. That's kind of what I want to be in. And then as far as which special operations branch, I was like, well, I used to spend every summer at the ocean, or I guess the Gulf Coast, but still the water. I love the water, loved swimming in lakes, rivers, wherever. So I knew I wanted to be near or in the water. And so the special operations branch that was in or on the water, the SEALs bubbled to the top. So the Navy was my choice, I guess. That's really what it bubbled down to, as simple as that. I will also tell you that the old movie The Rock had something to do with it, although all the SEALs got killed in that movie, so I'm not sure why I was motivated, but I remember them jumping out of an airplane and into the water and then diving these little mini submersibles into the bottom of the prison there. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Come to find out, none of those toys existed. And the ones that do, that are even close to it, are a lot more uncomfortable than that scene in The Rock.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood, exactly.
No, but I mean, that makes sense. You grew up, where are you from originally?
Yeah. So backing up, I was born in South Africa, actually.
Right.
Born in Cape Town, South Africa. And at the time, this was early 80s. So apartheid was still being practiced in South Africa. And my parents didn't agree with apartheid. They loved the country, but they didn't like the politics of the country. So they're like, okay, well, we got to get out of here.
Right.
The other side of the politics in the country at the time was that young men, when they graduated high school, were conscripted into the military. My parents didn't want me to be forced to join the military. So my dad and I joke still to this day that we left South Africa so that I wouldn't get drafted into the military. And then I came over here to the US and voluntarily joined the military. Right. But at least I had a choice in the matter. So that came over in 1984. I was 7 years old, or just turned 7, entered the school system here. And in Louisiana, went through the whole school system in Louisiana, and then graduated. And I don't have anything against my hometown. It was just a small town. And, the first thing you kind of want to do when you get out of high school is get the hell out of Dodge. Grew up in Ruston, Louisiana, and enlisted in the Navy right off the bat, went off to boot camp, and then went and served some time in Pensacola, went through the standard A school and everything else. And then I got picked up while I was there in A school to go to the Naval Academy, and then kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. So that,
I don't know if you know this fun fact. So John, what parish did you live in? What parish is Ruston in?
Yeah, Lincoln Parish. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Louisiana is the only state in the union that doesn't have counties. We've got parishes, and I'm not even sure why we still have that. It has to do with churches and everything else, but we're unique in that respect.
Well, fortunately, unfortunately, I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh yeah,
that's really the only reason. Don't I look like I'm from Louisiana?
Bossier is Bossier Parish. I should know that.
It is. There's like Roscoe, and then there's there's a bunch of parishes there. But yeah, that's their fun fact, Marty. I'll be quiet now.
There you go. I'm actually very familiar with Ruston. I used to do a lot of racing in there.
Oh that's right. You told me. Yeah,
a lot of mountain biking, adventure races, and Xterra races.
Yeah, the Lincoln Parish Park. I used to lifeguard there. I lifeguarded there for 4 summers through high school, and we did a lot of our cross country training there as well. I mean, I could run that trail backwards with my eyes closed still to this day. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a great place. But so when you say that and your love for the outdoors, it makes sense being from where you're at.
Yeah.
And so it totally makes sense. And I agree with sometimes you just want to get out of Dodge. That was my thing when I came in the military, or when I commissioned, and they're like, oh, well, you're going back you're in the Army and you're going to go to Fort Hood. I'm like just south of Austin. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to Fort Hood. I need to figure out how to get out of this. And then so through a bunch of trading, I wound up in the 82nd eventually. But yeah, so it was a lot of wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
That I won't get into because it's kind of embarrassing. The things I had to well, that sounds terrible if I say it like that.
We won't go there.
But so what did you do when you were enlisted?
I was an aircrew survival equipment man, a parachute rigger, worked on the ejection seats and all the equipment that went into the ejection seats on the F-18.
You know, I've never messed with ejection seats. I just remember doing OIF 1. We were rolling up north, and we came across this Iraqi Air Force graveyard, essentially. Aircraft, not.
Yeah.
But and then they had to tell us to stay out of the planes because some Joe had apparently got in there, hit the ejection seat, flew out and broke his freaking arm or something.
Wow.
I just remember I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it wasn't one of my guys.
So now it's all making sense. So basically you watched Top Gun back in 84, 86 and thought about Goose. And then you said, I'm going to enlist in the Navy so I can prevent that from happening in the future.
I will say Top Gun also inspired me to join the Navy. Not to join the SEALs, but yeah, there was a time when I was at the academy when I was kind of waffling back and forth between Navy SEALs and naval aviation. And I'm not even sure what the tipping point was for me. I think for 4 years, I just worked out to go to BUDS and to become a SEAL eventually. And I thought to myself, I put in all this work. Why would I put in all this work to go and fly jets? Now, don't get me wrong, flying jets, flying any kind of aircraft, I think that's a great job. Right. But when I look back on it, the temperament, the mentality, the personality of the aviators is different. And I probably would not have fit in as well with the aviators as I did with the special operations community.
I think that's a fair statement. Having worked so many joint operations and stuff, you definitely see something from the aviators, and then the classes of aviation, whether you're cargo or fighter or
fixed wing or rotary. Yeah.
so different. Then you're like, then you get the soft guys and you're like, what's up? Okay.
Yep.
Totally different.
Jason Van Camp, he's part of this whole triathlon that we're going to get into talking about here soon as well. He's the founder and president of Warrior Rising, and he joined Special Forces, the Green Berets, so that he could put his hands in his pockets. And I remember many a time running around putting my hands in my pockets, and then the conventional Navy or conventional Army would call me out and be like, "Hey, get your hands out of your pockets." I'm like, "Hey, man, we're soft. This is part of our issue. It's like our gloves."
Yeah, no, exactly. I remember. I heard once the sergeant major came up to me. I'm an officer because I would have never got away with it when I was enlisted, but it said, "Hey, are your hands cold?" I'm like, "No, because they're in my pockets." But so you mentioned Warrior Rising. Check them out. They're doing such great things, and we'll talk about these when you're talking about your race and all. But check them out right now. It's in the comments. Great organization. Really, really excited to be just helping you guys and talking with you guys on this. And we've met Jason before as well. So great dude.
Yeah.
So buds, you went through and went straight to a team, or how does all that work for those that don't know?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than the Army. Like, I didn't have to go into any kind of conventional Army unit first and then get into special operations. From the Naval Academy, you go to SEAL training, basic underwater demolition, SEAL training, BUDS, BUDS. And that's a 6-month course. Then you go from there to SEAL qualification training. You do your airborne training, you do your winter warfare, and that's about another 6 months or so. When all is said and done, it's about 1.5 years before you get to your team, from day one. And then you get to your team, and you can be in any phase of a training cycle or deployment cycle. And I'm sure, just like you guys, you kind of get injected wherever it makes the most sense, time-wise, and what the need of the team is. So got to SEAL delivery vehicle team, and that's the SEAL delivery vehicle. The SDV is a little miniature submersible. It looks like a little mini submarine.
Yeah.
And you're diving it. You're wet the whole time you're in it. But that was coming back to the Rock, right? That was a unique mission. All the special operators shoot guns. All the special operators dive. All the special operators jump. We all have a lot in common, but the one thing that the Navy SEALs do, and they alone do, is the SEAL delivery vehicle mission. So I was really excited about that, and I volunteered to be a part of SDV, and got to the team, and then my first deployment, we had nothing to do with the water. We were in Afghanistan, and so I was as far away from my training set, or at least my particular skill set, as I could. But we also train that SEAL delivery vehicle team. We specialize in reconnaissance, and so we very small unit reconnaissance, and that actually plays into my what I do now in mindfulness. And you're like, okay, how do you make that leap from reconnaissance to mindfulness? Well, several different ways. One, I was involved in a particular operation in Afghanistan in 2005, Operation Red Wings, which I know you guys are familiar with. And, I wasn't on the ground for that operation, but I was going to be a part of it, got pulled off of it. We ended up losing a lot of guys on that mission, had some serious survivor guilt because of it. And that caused me depression and anger and anxiety and stress. And that caused me to go into some very dark parts of my life. And ultimately, I had a counselor recommend mindfulness and meditation to me. And I laughed at him. And the mindfulness side was like, that's woo-woo. And so is meditation. That's for hippies, monks, and weirdos. But then he sold it to me as a performance enhancing thing. And as anybody in special operations, we're always looking for an edge over the enemy on the battlefield or our buddy next to us. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try it out. So I'll spare you the long story, but the short is that it took me a little while to get into it, but after about 2 months or so, I was able to meditate for 15 minutes to a half hour regularly, and I could see the performance enhancing sides of things coming in. And I think a lot of that also ties back, like this is the other side of reconnaissance. Reconnaissance, if you're sitting out there for 48 to 72 hours looking at a target, and you're not climbing out of your foxhole to go take a leak or a dump. You're doing all that stuff in a bag, and whatever you hike in or hump in, you're humping that out.
Yep. And
you have to be very disciplined, and it takes a lot of effort to stay very still. And that I realized years later that I was like, basically that's what I was doing. I was doing some form of meditation or mindfulness when I was in my operating positions or observing posts. And that was what kind of sold me on it. So now I teach mindfulness and meditation to corporate teams and veterans and first responders and healthcare workers. Basically, in all honesty, anyone who will listen, because I think everyone can apply these things in their lives.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to ask is, how did you make that transition? Because one, I can't imagine the anticipation. Once you finish buds, and now you've got how much longer before you actually get to a team. And then if it's like us, you get to the team, and you're like, woo, but you're still the FNG, the new guy. So you're like, shit. So you definitely learn some patience.
Yeah, I got to tell you the FNG thing, man. So I have 3 kids. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And my daughter, she was born. She wasn't the FNG because she is the only child. But then when my son was born, we got him a onesie that said FNG on it. And everybody's like, what's FNG? I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like, you're trying to explain that at church or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the mindfulness. I know that's a huge thing, especially we talk about the rest principle: read, exercise, sleep, and think. You need to rest because that's how you grow. And bringing in the mindfulness. I read a book, Mark Divine, Seal Fit, right? I think is what his company is. And that kind of got me that I'd done yoga, but that got me back into the meditation and the studying and going back through. And that really helped me. I think that was, God, I can't remember. That was a while ago though, when he first put his book out.
Yeah. Mark has been, leaps and bounds ahead of the curve on this kind of wave that's been coming. I mean, this day and age, you open any book, magazine, it mentions mindfulness and meditation. You see it on the bookshelves everywhere you go. You hear about it in mainstream media. And Mark was doing it ages ago.
Yeah.
And now he's really made a difference in the SEAL candidates. A lot of people who go through SEAL Fit and then go to SEAL training really do well because they have it together upstairs.
Yep.
And that's where the performance enhancing side of mindfulness and meditation come in. Now, I did neglect to say this. The guy sold it to me on the performance enhancing aspects, but a lot of there's other issues that I had going on, that depression, the dark sides of my life that I was going into. I came out of those, came off a lot of medications, and I feel like infinitely better than I did prior to starting to practice mindfulness and meditation. Now, do I still get stressed out? Sure. Do I still get anxious? Sure. Do I still get sad? Sure. But that's the big difference is I get those ways. I am not defined by depression, anxiety, stress. I can get into a stressful situation and kind of work my way through it, process it, and understand that this is something I'm going through. That doesn't mean I am a sad person or I'm a stressed person or I'm an anxious person. It's just, this is an anxious instance in my life. So I want to make sure I brought that back.
No, I love that too, because here on the show, we always talk about when you get out of the military, it's a transition. You're going to do a resume class, you're going to interview, blah, 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 blah. Getting out of the military is also a transformation. Getting to go to that next evolution. It's your brain housing group, making sure that's straight, right? The mind trash, as they call it, the straight, my civilian counterparts call it. I kept calling it brain housing group, and they didn't know what the heck I was talking about. But getting your mind trash right. Because like you said, you're not going to be able to stop all of that because that's just life. Right. What you're learning is how to deal with it. Like you said, it's a snapshot in time. There's ways to deal with it. And so that it's not lost on everybody. We have a Navy SEAL who's saying he went through this shit too. So for the listeners that are out there and watching this that are going through your own transition, we all go through it. It's just about how do you deal with it. And John's got a great way of dealing with it. With what better segue than to what are you doing now with your company? Yeah.
So I've got Macaskill Consulting, and that's, I use that term, quote unquote, consulting very loosely, in that I do a lot of stuff under that. And that includes some of the mindfulness teaching that I do with the corporate teams, first responders, and veterans. I also work with a Marine veteran, Teresa Larson. She's a doctor of physical therapy now, and we team up to bring mindfulness and movement together. So she teaches people how to get some more mobility into their lives and how important movement is in like taking care of their bodies. Yes. But also as you take care of your body, that helps to heal your mind. And then I bring in the mindfulness side. As you start to heal your mind, you can heal your body. We do that together in a program under her company, Movement RX. I work with a dual military guy. He's Navy and Air Force, Dr. Seth Hickerson. He runs a company called My Steady Mind, and we do similar stuff in that, but we call it cognitive fitness, because again, much like when the counselor recommended mindfulness and meditation to me, I was like, whoa, weirdo, why don't you back off with your smoking whatever, get away from me. So we call it cognitive fitness. That seems to land better with some corporate teams. We're teaching NASA the stuff that we all know. And then I've teamed up with a buddy of mine who's a yoga instructor in New York City. And that's this MTM hat that I'm wearing. MTM is Men Talking Mindfulness. We have our own podcast that we do weekly, and we do it live on the various social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then we have it as a podcast as well. So those are some of the things that I'm doing these days.
Well, the key is like I think it's about the identifying those issues that you were having. Before, you didn't have a mechanism. While you're in the crisis, you didn't have anything to revert back to identify what you were going through it. Yeah, it required somebody else to point out that you were going through it. So I love the internal look at yourself, and you talk about take care of yourself first. And to me, that's what it's about. Because here's the thing: we have been wired, right? When we went in the military, most of us, it was about take care of the other person, right? And then we came last. We were leaders. I'm sure you were like us. We ate last, right? The soldiers eat first, and we ate last.
Yeah.
Our sailors. Does SEALs call their?
Yeah, we call them sailors.
Sailors. Okay, yeah. I was making sure I didn't know.
Yeah, actually, we just call them John and Bill and Jimmy. We just call everyone by first name. Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it's about, having that identified before you go into that crisis. So I think that's what's huge. A lot of times you worked in the mental health field for a little bit, and what we realized was if you don't have the plan prior to going into the crisis, time to come up with a plan, as well as I do, and Marty, that it's not during the crisis.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. And you threw out a couple of things that I want to kind of respond to there, that taking that internal look. In the Movement RX program that Teresa Larson and I run together, we talk about taking an internal selfie. And I know that sounds ludicrous, but because it's ridiculous, you remember it.
Yeah.
And we talk about before a meditation, taking that internal selfie and basically imagining taking a phone, flipping it, and taking a picture of your mind and how it is, as far as, is it all over the place, or is it very centered? Is it very focused? Your nervous system, is it very shaken? Is it like vibrating, or is it very calm? And then your body, take a picture of your body and how your muscles feel. Do you have any tension? And then at the end of the meditation, we do it again and kind of compare the two mental internal selfies. I think that's an important image for people to be able to kind of imagine. The next thing that you talked about is, as leaders, we're, hey, our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, they all eat first. And that's an important kind of leadership trait that we're all taught, but it's the kind of the overall idea there is that you take care of your people, but you've got to take care of yourself to take care of your people, right? So if you continue to put yourself last, you actually end up being a worse version of yourself and a worse leader. You're more tired, you're more fatigued on the battlefield. You actually end up being a risk on the battlefield. So you've got to take care of yourself at some point. The team, there's that saying, hey, you take care of the team will take care of you. I've seen that happen, and I've seen it not happen. I've seen people where they really expend themselves, drive themselves into the ground, trying to take care of the team, and the team just takes and takes and takes. And then that individual that's leading that element is just not present. They're not available to lead. They're not even available to really operate. So at some point, you've got to find some type of balance where, yes, you're taking care of your people, but you have to take care of yourself as well. And then finally, having the plan, and this comes full circle to what Marty was talking about, in transitioning out of the military. About 2 years prior to my retirement, I had a former 06 SEAL mentor of mine sit me down. He's like, so John, what's your plan? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you've got 2 years before you retire. I was like, yeah, boss, I got plenty of time. And he's like, 2 years, you need to start like now. You need to start formulating your plan of action right now. So like that night, literally, I went home and wrote out the next 24 months of what that plan was going to look like the old military plan of action and milestone, literally. And not a single month went according to plan,
Right.
but I had a plan to veer from. Right. If I had no plan, I mean, it would have been complete shit. But it went, not according to plan, but it went well. So having some type of plan is important, but understand that the enemy gets a vote in that plan, time gets a vote, family gets a vote. There's a lot of things that are going to play into that plan, and rarely, very rarely, does it ever look like at the end what it looked like at the beginning.
Well, that's why we say the plan is nothing. Planning is everything.
Yes.
We just talked about that last week as well. We had a very similar conversation, but it's so true. You can't call an audible if there's no plan.
Right.
And so understanding that, and I really like the perspective on your introspective reflection on yourself and where you're at, your selfie, and it's good to do that, because sometimes you're like, you know what, it was just a phase you were going through, or maybe you realize you are in a slump. How do I get out of this thing? And it could be like I did, calling my Ranger buddy and going, dude, I'm going through some shit right now. And being able to do that. And that's part of, I also call it your internal SWOT analysis, strengths, opportunity, threats. So that shit, I'm redlining here. It's not a phase. I need to call somebody just to talk to. And then surrounding yourself with good enough people that are going to be there for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the SWOT analysis, man. I teach that regularly. It's a huge assessment that you can do, in micro SWOT analysis every day, and then long-term over months and years. But you've got to continually analyze and assess where you're at, and grow from it, and be completely honest with yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of times people aren't honest with themselves, and the SWOT analysis really helps them to see blind spots that they've been carrying around with them about themselves.
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome.
It's a scary place.
It is.
It can be, because you go there and you're like, ooh, I'm actually,
I see.
what am I doing here? And so having that, and then talking to somebody about it is also, it's key. And it's not necessarily always your cheerleaders that you need to talk to. You need to have somebody who can say, no, bro, or sis, you're going through some shit right now. We need to talk about this or whatever.
Right.
That's why John would be the perfect mentor to reach out to, because he would be the honest broker.
There you go.
I tell some of the people that I do some executive coaching with, I'm like, hey, just so you know, you may not like me at the end of all this. And they're like, what? I want to be friends. I'm like, hey, you didn't hire me to be your friend.
Right.
I'm here to be your coach. And some of the things I say are going to hurt your feelings. But ultimately it's going to be for the best, right? You're going to grow from this. So
Marty's only ran off 3 of our clients that way, but yes.
My style.
Yeah.
But you talked about transition. What I want to do is go ahead and transition this. We're going to cut the commercial and then transition to this about this race that you're doing against who's the other guy?
Andy Reese. Who was that guy?
I heard he's the artillery guy or something.
So let's cut the commercial and we'll come back.
All right.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Feltz.
Oh my gosh, not again. Not again. Well,
I
welcome back.
got messed up. You had that Navy commercial on there for a split second.
What's that?
You had that Navy commercial on there for a second, so I got messed up. I was like looking down at my phone and everything.
So now, if you're just tuning in, we got Jon Macaskill, Navy SEAL. We're talking about mindfulness, and now at the top of the hour, we're going to talk about this this little thing he's got going on here, trying to take down an Army guy. So, what's going on with that?
Well, I'll lead off with, I'm not trying to take him down. I'm already up. He's trying to take me down. But yeah, Andy Reese, artillery officer in the Army, West Point grad, 2001. I'm an Annapolis grad from 2001. There you go. There it is. Awesome competition that we've got set up in basically raising money for Warrior Rising by doing a half Ironman in Waco, Texas on October 16th. And it's going to be a head-to-head kind of half Ironman. And there's a lot of trash talk and friendly banter back and forth the whole time. Andy's got this great kind of series where he's called himself the hippo. And even further, he's taken it to, instead of the underdog, he's the under hippo. And he does a video almost daily on social media of how the hippo is leading the charge, or how the hippo is going to beat the seal or beat the shark or whatever it is. But we're having a lot of fun. Kind of the idea is to raise money, yes, but also to raise awareness of Warrior Rising and the veterans that we're serving, and then to show that we can still do hard shit. So we both retired around the same time. I retired in August of 2020, and he retired, I think, soon after that. And we've gotten softer in our retirement. We still do hard things mentally. He's a mental mind state coach. He's coached multiple professional baseball teams. He's coached at the Air Force Academy. He's coached at West Point. He's very good at what he does. But at the same time, we kind of both going back to taking care of the people that we work for and work with instead of ourselves. And we haven't done physically hard things in a while. So we both, gained a little weight, gained a little softness here and there. And we thought this would be a great challenge to mentally challenge ourselves, but also show the people that we work with, hey, we don't just talk this stuff.
Right.
We actually do it too. So yeah, we've got the challenge going. You can help to raise money at the website there that the guys put in the comments. And what's cool about it is there's multiple ways to donate. You can donate to me or Andy. If you donate $100 or more, you get a Team John or a Team Andy shirt. If you donate $250 or more, you get registered for this Jeep Gladiator that they're giving away in the spring. Warrior Rising is giving away in the spring. And you can donate a flat rate, or you can donate per mile trained. So that's another part of the challenge, is to log the most number of miles. And I started way ahead of Andy, and I got to give Andy credit. He has since caught up. He's definitely capitalized on the mileage on the bike. I've been focusing on the swim and the run, and he's got a 40 miler and a 50 miler under his belt already. And in the half Ironman, it's a 56-mile bike. Yeah. And so he's already there, pretty close. I am not as far along on the bike, but I'm further along on the run and the swim. But anyway, you can donate per mile trained, or you can donate per mile of the race. So, total 70.3 miles between the swim, the bike, and the run, and you can donate per mile for the race. And then lastly, and this is not on the website yet, but it's going to be coming up soon, is during the race, you'll be able to donate to actually give us some type of reward or some type of punishment. It's going to be streamed live on the website for Warrior Rising, and you can donate. Yeah, we haven't decided on the price, nor have we actually decided on the final punishments and or rewards. But it's going to look like something like, hey, you can give us some type of replenishment drink, or you can give us some type of goo, some type of energy, or you can make us run backwards for a quarter mile, or do some burpees in the transition, that type of thing. So we're going to add a little bit more fun to watching a live stream of a half Ironman, and make it painful for one another. But also it's all for a good cause and raising money for Warrior Rising. And I haven't really spoken too much about what Warrior Rising is. So Warrior Rising, founded by Jason Van Camp, and another 2001 grad from West Point. they are there to help veterans start their own businesses. So start them via information, leadership, mentorship, or by getting them grants, connections with people that may be able to help them take an invention from an idea on the back of a napkin to actual creation. So they're really helping veterans get their feet on the ground as what they call them vetrepreneurs instead of entrepreneurs. And what's great about these vetrepreneurs is they start these companies and then they hire other veterans. So it's a virtuous cycle. So that's Warrior Rising, and that's why we're doing this. And we're looking to raise $133,000. Right now, we're sitting at about 26, so about 20% of what we're wanting to raise. So we've got a long way to go. But the reason it's 133,000 is this fall, this December actually, is the 133rd iteration of the Army-Navy football game. So if you're wondering how we came to that kind of random number. But yeah, that's a little bit about the race. And I'll tell you, Andy's a great guy, but he's going to get crushed. Navy's going to win. And I say that jokingly, but I'm also serious. We're going to win.
So hypothetically, let me ask you a question, John, while I have the opportunity. Andy didn't ask me to ask this question, but are you nursing any injuries or anything at this moment? Like hinder your performance at this point?
I have a slightly strained calf, but Andy has helped me with that because these OFOS or UFOS or whatever these sandals are, they've actually helped my legs recover from the runs and hard bikes. So
I'm sold. I'm going to have to check them out.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing.
So here it is. You guys come to the website. We put it in the comments already. But you got to check this out. It's such a great cause. And you go here and then you can select whether you want to support Andy or John, or if they want to be like James, they can support both.
Well, Marty, did you notice that every time John does anything, he's always second? Like even on this website, he's listed second. How are you managing to do that? Is that like some psychological,
Well, I mean, the website, it's Warrior Rising website. Warrior Rising is owned by Army. It is their marketing team is primarily Army. I mean, you guys are primarily Army. I'm living in the Army's world, man. I'm living in the joint world. How do you spell joint? ARMY.
Like we say, it's purple's just a darker shade of green.
Exactly.
But isn't it better to sing second?
That's right. At the Army-Navy game, if we sing second, it means we won. And I know everybody was expecting Army to sing second last year, and we see what happened. So
I know we did a lot of trash talking last year. It wasn't.
Yeah.
No. So it's so the half Ironman, 1.2 mile swim, 56.1 mile bike, and a 13.1 mile run in Waco, Texas. How did you guys select Waco?
Honestly, so Andy and Jason were just sitting around trying to figure out a way to raise money for Warrior Rising, trying to figure out a way for Andy to really start getting after it, doing something physically hard. And they were like, hey, let's do a half Ironman. I think they had Waco picked before they ever even spoke to me. And in all honesty, what is it? A couple hours from where Andy lives in Houston. So he's like, well, I'll pick a race that's close to me. Yeah. I'll train in the environment that's close to Waco. So I will tell you, he's training in the heat and the humidity, which is going to be much more similar to Waco than where I'm at. I'm in Colorado Springs. But I will say that the elevation here is going to give me an advantage. I'm coming from 7,500 feet, and Waco sits at, 100 feet, something like that.
Yes.
It's going to be an advantage for me. He doesn't think it, but it's going to be one.
Oh, my gosh. It's a year of trash talking, right? So it sounds like there's going to be like a follow-on year for this.
Yeah. So we're thinking this is the inaugural event, and we're keeping it simple this year. It's just the two of us. We had talked about putting relays together and, having other individuals run on the Army team or the Navy team and throwing in the Air Force, Coast Guard, and everybody else. But this first event, we're keeping it simple. It's our minimal viable product, if you will.
There you go.
And from here, it's only going to grow, and there's going to be a lot more trash talking from a lot more people. It's just going to continue to be that much more fun. But Yes, I anticipate Andy and I being in it for quite a while in some shape, form, or fashion.
Wow. Next year, put me down for Team Army. I'll race with Andy.
There you go.
Put me down for Navy. I'll help you, John, lose.
Who's the guy in the inner tube?
There you go.
So you're leading. So John's leading in donations. How accurate is this? This pretty real-time tracker.
So let's see. I can't see on my screen right now. It's 14,000. No, so it's about. I think if you go a little bit higher to the top, I think there's let's see. Yeah, maybe not. If you click on support John, it'll show you that number is more accurate.
You notice how he did that just now. Support John.
Support John. So you see, I just want to highlight the fact that I've raised $14,849. If you go back and click on support Andy, I'm just going to highlight the fact that he's at 12,100. So
we've already raised money.
Almost $3,000 ahead.
All right. So regardless of who you're going for, Army or Navy, you got to go out and support them. It is a great cause. And I like the I like the tail of the tape here.
Yeah.
So what's with the name of the bike, the Immortal? What do you ride?
So that's actually changed. So my Immortal, I had a black Immortal Moto Beka bike, and it's more of a road bike. It's great for climbs and things, but it's not great for a triathlon.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a Cervelo recently, a Cervelo P3.
Nice.
And I found that on Facebook for like $800. It's like, that's a steal. So I gotta update that. But yeah, the Immortal is literally the name of the bike, or the type of bike. And I think Andy's is like the Black Mamba or something.
The Black Mamba.
Yeah. So
that's the one you get at Walmart, right? The Mongoose, the $100 Huffy bike that you get.
No, I do like the I enjoy the tail of the tape. You took your favorite quote, probably a little more serious than Andy here. Ricky Bobby versus Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
But no, this is good. And then there's the stats. It looks like you're
crushing.
Well, yeah. So those stats, those are fed. So we train on Strava. If you guys are familiar with Strava, you can go in there and see how many miles we've done on X, Y, and Z. They're not fed directly by Strava. They're fed by a spreadsheet that we have to update daily. Oh. Andy hasn't updated that spreadsheet in about 2 months.
Psychological warfare.
He's doing some psychological warfare. But here's that I can track every day. I see what Andy does on Strava, so I know where he's at. He's actually ahead of me in the miles right now. He's logged 430 total miles. Most of those are on the bike, and he's doing great work on the bike. He's doing great work in general. He's coming off of a surgery, so for him to be biking and running as he is, I'm super impressed. And here I am singing his praises, right? I got to tell you, there's a lot of trash talking publicly, but in the back, we're supporting one another. We're brothers in arms, like we all are on the battlefield, right? Hey, we will fight one another in a bar, but then you put us on the battlefield, we'll support one another. That's how we feel. We're giving a lot of support behind the scenes. When Andy tells me what type of shoes to wear for recovery, I tell him what type of water bottle to put on his bike, and he tells me about putting Body Glide on different spots. We get pretty personal pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, the Body Glide's no joke. I did Ironman in Arizona, and it was the worst thing. I was wearing a Quick Johnson, a sleeveless wetsuit, and I chafed all here, and so from the swimming, and it really wasn't apparent because when you're doing the bike, you're just in this position.
Right.
I got off. They spray you down with it was Bullfrog at the time, and it just stung. And then I had the marathon to run.
Yeah.
And I was just dying. I couldn't take my top off. It's against the rules. So I stopped. I found an EMT and I just had him cut my top like halfway down so that it would just stop. But yeah, the Body Glide is no joke. You don't notice that chafing until it's too late once you get some salt in those wounds, right? So yeah, we're sharing little tips about that. He's gotten
some sponsors. He's got an Excella, which has helped us to kind of analyze our gut health, and they're maintaining or helping us maintain gut health and recovery. I just recently got us a sponsorship through TriDot, and TriDot is a phenomenal training program and podcast and social media kind of collective. But the training program, it's not just, hey, what race is it? And here's your training program. It's, hey, what race is it? What's your average heart rate? What's your body makeup? What's your genetics? And then they generate a training plan for you based off of that. And it's not just, hey, here's some mileage. It's here's the mileage. These are the different zones of power and heart rate that you should get into. So it's a lot more scientific than what Andy and I were doing before, where we were just going out and logging miles. Now we're logging smart miles. We're doing the right training the right way. And that's through TriDot. So we've got some phenomenal sponsors helping us, jumping in on this. And it's a ton of fun. And again, it's all for a good cause.
It's a great cause. The shirts look great. I have Andy's shirt here. It's a great shirt. I really enjoy it. So
you don't like John's shirt?
I didn't get John's shirt. No.
Oh man, this is so that the shirt there for John it says Jon Macaskill, and it's the mindful frog man. So basically, it's a kitted out frog meditating, which is actually what I'm wearing right here. It's just a different version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, it's pretty awesome. I really like it.
Yeah, Diesel Jack did a great job putting those together.
I really like them both. They're really awesome.
So if John wins, Marty, you're going to buy John's shirt, right?
I'm probably going to wind up
buying
it.
You heard it, everyone. Hey, it was out there. It's out there on social media. It's out there on TV. So everyone heard it. That's what's going to happen, right, Marty?
Yeah, that's what will happen. Unfortunately, the Army 10 milers before y'all's race. Otherwise, I would say I'll wear the winner's shirt during pack and pickup at Army 10 miler. So, but no, it's a great cause. I'm excited. Go ahead, sorry.
So go ahead and wear my shirt because you're going to wear the winner's shirt.
Oh my God! When are we getting Andy on?
I think it's next week, isn't it?
I think so. Then we have next week or the week after. But yeah, we got to do this, and then again, we're going to schedule another one for the post-race reflections. What I'd love to do is James and I got to figure out how do we get out to Waco and support you guys live. Be your official voice of the race or something.
Yeah, that'd be
especially
awesome.
because Waco is my hometown.
Yeah, I remember that.
You need somebody to carry the Dorito chips. I told you, I'm your guy.
You guys are still looking for Chip and Joanna Gaines, right?
Yeah. So we still want, hey, if Chip and Joanna are listening, or anyone who is listening, watching, knows Chip and Joanna Gaines, we're looking to get some type of support through Magnolia. We would love that. And I know they're huge patriots. So we have any connections.
Chip's ran a couple of marathons.
Has he?
Yeah, he started doing marathons like 2020, 2019.
Nice.
So he got the running bug. And so I think
man.
it'll be a marathon.
Once you get bitten.
I'm telling you. Man, this has been a great episode. I can't believe it's already top of the hour.
Yeah, it's crazy.
As often is the case. So with that, it is time to ask you the question. You've done so much. You've served, you've sacrificed. You're still doing a lot for our great nation. We ask you, John, what does freedom mean to you?
Yeah, I know we had mentioned this right before we hit record, and I think my response is going to be a little bit unconventional, but you said you guys have had all sorts of responses, and maybe you guys could write a book with these responses one day. What freedom means to me, I believe, honestly, I believe freedom is an illusion. True freedom is basically doing whatever you want, whenever you want it. And I mean, do we have that? I don't think we do. I'd say no. I'd say no, we don't have that. But also, do we want that? And I'd say we don't have that either. I mean, I want people sticking to some kind of societal norms, right? I mean, if everyone was completely free, I think it would be complete chaos. So having some type of structure is important, and that structure gives us society. It gives us some type of way to move forward and progress. And as soon as you're part of something, if you're part of a group, you're going to lose a little bit of freedom. If you're part of a company, you're going to lose a little bit of freedom. If you're part of a family, which all of us at one point were part of a family, so we lose a little bit of freedom there. If you're part of a marriage, you're going to give up some type of freedoms. Religion, country, whatever. As soon as you're part of something, I think that you lose a little bit of freedom. Now that said, we do have freedoms. Am I free to live where I want to work or live where I want to live? Yeah. Am I free to work where I want to work? Yeah. Go to school where I want to go? Yeah. Am I free to go in the morning to Starbucks and get my, I don't know, venti, chai, whatever? Yes, I'm free to do that. We have a lot of freedoms here in the U.S. and I'm very happy to have served to protect those freedoms and some level of freedom that we have, but I don't think we're truly 100% free. I love my country through and through. I believe we're far from perfect, and in some years, due to one reason or another, I think we have more freedoms and sometimes we have less. But I think we are in a country where we are lucky enough to have a lot of freedoms, and ultimately we're always striving to be better as a society. And that is what I believe I served to protect, is the freedoms and the ability to strive to be better as a society. And that's what's important to me. And that's what I believe freedom is and what freedom means.
Oh, brother, I love it. It's actually not that crazy. The difference between freedom and what we call liberty. Liberty, yeah. The rule under governance, basically John over here pulling a page out of Thomas Jefferson as the Declaration of Independence and talking about liberty versus freedom. So, wow. I really enjoy that. That's a great answer. Was not expecting that.
That's going in the book. He just gave us permission to put it in the book.
I wasn't expecting that from a Navy guy. I'm just saying.
Well, when you ask Andy the same question, expect a lot of monosyllabic words, and he may trip over himself a few times as well.
Oh man.
Unga, freedom, red, white, blue, gun.
What is freedom to you? America.
Exactly. Ricky Bobby, right? He's going to go with Ricky Bobby's response.
Ricky Bobby. Sweet Lord, baby Jesus.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you being our legend today, brother. And it's been an amazing time. We're definitely looking forward to follow up with you all and then helping just promote what you guys are doing, because it is absolutely amazing.
For sure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Good luck. And then reach out if you need anything for triathlon prep. I'll make sure to give you some very bad advice.
Yeah, I'm not sure I trust you on that, but.
All right. Thank you, brother. We'll put you in a good room. All right, James. That was awesome, brother.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, it was refreshing. I was hoping to get a little bit more dirt on injuries or something that I could give to Andy to, develop, give it to him on a silver platter so he could just dominate John. But, it'll be okay. But John, seriously, I hope you recover from your injuries, and I hope it's 100% against 100%. So we want to see who's going to sing second.
So this is going to be great. And then if you're looking for the retort, you got to wait 2 weeks. Next week, we have Blake Ogan, CEO of Bunker Labs. And then we get to bring on, there's your Bunker Labs mug. I'm drinking out of
I finally got the mug and a t-shirt.
But then on the 31st, we're bringing Andy on. So Andy will get to retort and we'll talk about what he's doing. And then we're going to find out, hopefully by then, Andy has updated his Strava numbers. I'm going to go follow them both on Strava right now, just so I can keep track of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks. We got another one. Then after that, we got another big triathlete coming on. We got Liz Dis. So
I'm just excited that I can wear camo again. I can get off get the blue jacket off the next 2 weeks. Well, actually next week's a Marine. So what color jacket do you want me to wear next week?
Pick a Crayola primary color.
Okay. Got it.
So this is awesome. We got Navy, then we're going Marines, then we're going Army, then we're going Air Force. We got all the services in there in 4 weeks. This is awesome. Truly,
that'll be our third academy person, right? Air Force Academy. That's our first academy.
That's true. Liz is the Air Force Academy. I think that's it because Marines don't have an academy.
Does the Coast Guard have an academy?
Kindercare?
They do. I'm just messing with you.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, check us out next week. It's been awesome. Thanks for your support. And please go out and support Warrior Rising and this great race. It's going to a great cause. And we appreciate all you all and what y'all are doing. Thanks.
But before we go, we got to say one thing. Go Army.
Go Army. Beat Navy.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.